And hello again, Warren Pepper, Gene Sapikoff with some Pigskin picks. And as always, we thank our sponsors, Lee & Associates Commercial Real Estate. Congrats, by the way, on going 9-1 last week. Gene's gaining ground. If you were perfect last week, and there were two of you, congrats. Let's get to it. People have been waiting on the Clemson-Florida State game since, last August. Tigers are highly ranked, but are they what they need to be to go to Tallahassee and beat the Seminoles? Gene?
Very interesting that you say that, Warren, because Dabo Swinney, when I was at Clemson this week, got asked a lot of those same questions, and he was particularly prickly about questions about the offense. He says the Clemson offense is as good or better than last year. The stats say not. But I think if you look at the way they played against Louisville and the way they played against Boston College, and then if you agree with Dabo that 3 times inside the 5-yard line with no points at all, that would be two turnovers and a turnover on downs, is not characteristic of Clemson, then maybe the offense is about to click. I think he's right, and I think Clemson's going to have a pretty good day in Tallahassee, a pretty good night, I should say.
All right, I think we should all be concerned if anybody is particularly prickly. But the Tigers are still undefeated, but they still don't look as powerful to me as last year's team. Even so, this is the week that I think they shut a lot of people up, all right? Gallman's back. Watson, I think, is going to gain 100 yards. There's your kind of unknown equation there. And Boulware, I think he causes a fumble in the fourth quarter to save the day. So Tigers win. In Columbia, Tennessee comes in kind of, I think, less than we thought they were a couple of weeks ago.
So many injuries for the Vols, particularly on defense. They've gotten a few guys back on the offensive line. Jake Bentley gave the offense a real spark. Boy, he had touch and he had poise. I think that's going to be good for some of the winnable games down the road, like Missouri in a couple weeks. But I think Tennessee's just a little too much for South Carolina, and really no shame in that. South Carolina's gradually getting better.
Yeah, and I like what we saw from Jake Bentley last week. I like what we saw from a couple of receivers that kind of went after the football. Can the defense keep Tennessee from repeated trips to the end zone? I don't think so. Vols win by a couple of touchdowns. And I want to take a stab, Gene, at the Florida-Georgia game. This one really can mean something. And so what do you think?
Well, Georgia needs to run the ball better, and there's no reason that they can't. And Jacob Eason, we saw him throw pretty well against Missouri and in a few other games, North Carolina, for instance. He's going to have to get it going, but I just like Florida and the consistency, and they have one of the better defenses in the country. And, hey, quietly, they have a shot at the playoff picture. I don't think they could beat Alabama, but I like the Gators barely.
I understand, and the Gators really do have the rest of the season in front of them. Georgia's kind of wondering, what happened to the season behind us? I'll go with Georgia, though they are kind of slight underdogs by a touchdown or so down in the greatest outdoor cocktail party in the world. We all know all about that, but I still like Georgia when it's all said and done there to win that game. So there you go. Gene will have all of our picks in his column on Saturday, and if you win all of them this week, I'll be particularly prickly.